They say I'm the best there is, but I sure don't feel that way. Not now. Now that I'm the hunted. Today on the Comic Book Report, Predator vs. Wolverine. Stick around and check it out. Greetings, bub. My name is Dominic, and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And today I'm finally reviewing a book that I've had my eye on for some time. That's right, we're going to be talking about Predator vs. Wolverine. This is a 4-part miniseries, and it was the crossover I never knew I needed. But before we look at the collection today, I do want to just shout out the channel's sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com. If you're looking to pick up your own comic book collected editions, I highly encourage you to check out their website. You can find a link for it in the video's description, and if you see anything there you like, you can even use my discount code at checkout, TheComicBookReport, to save $2 off of your order. Please note if you use my affiliate link or code to make a purchase, I will earn a small commission, but it's a fantastic way to support the channel. Thank you so much for considering. Now let's get started with today's review. First, some quick facts about today's collection. The issues in this volume were written by Benjamin Percy and illustrated primarily by Ken Lashley, Andrea DeVito, and Hayden Sherman. The comics in this volume were published by Marvel Comics beginning in 2023. The volume itself collects Predator vs. Wolverine issues 1 through 4. And finally, this is a standard-sized trade paperback collection with glossy print paper stock, a glued binding, and a total of 128 pages. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and issue a general spoiler warning. I will be flipping through the contents of today's collection and commenting on plot points throughout. You've been advised. Okay, now we can take a look at our trade paperback collection here. Right from the jump, I will say this is a special cover. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I'll throw up a thumbnail for the standard paperback that is available for this collection. Both really stunning looking covers. I got a gift card from my brother and sister-in-law, so this is the way I went via Barnes & Noble. So thanks again, you two, if you happen to be listening. At any rate, the cover design for this whole trade paperback is pretty nice. This, like I said, is the collaboration I never knew I needed. And all the design here absolutely sells what we get on the interior. Really good stuff here. Yeah, I personally think that spine just looks really clean. I like the kind of yellow font. It just really pops. And then as we make our way to the back cover, we have some more art, blurbs, things like that. We do have a parental advisory, and that is mostly for violence and blood, a little bit of gore. So if you're a little bit sensitive with things like that, just please be advised. We might also have some slight male rear nudity. Again, if it is in here, it's very brief. But yeah, it's mostly for violence, but again, just be advised. And now that we've examined the exteriors of this trade paperback, I'm going to go ahead and transition to the binding for this paperback. It's a standard glued binding, nothing too special here. I didn't find the gutter loss to be too severe or anything like that. Just a real standard trade paperback from Marvel. Again, no bells or whistles here, just pretty much what you can expect on all these collections. Overall, really not dissatisfied here. Okay, and with that out of the way, we can go ahead and start making our way into the collection proper. We have kind of a title creator page, basically, and then we jump right into the first issue, and we begin in medias res, right in the middle of the storytelling. We have this amazing artwork by Ken Lashley. Really love this illustrator. He does some truly impressive stuff. I actually have a Batman art print from him that I won from the YouTube channel You Truckin' Nerd back in the day. Thanks again, Shannon. But anyway, that's where I first heard about this illustrator, but this is one of the few Ken Lashley works I've had my hands on, and I love it. The art here that we get in the present day between the Wolverine and the Predator is some of the strongest in the collection for me personally. Absolutely love it. But essentially, this story is a frame narrative, and the frame kind of is the present day moment, the final hunt between Logan, Wolverine, and this Predator hunter that's been after him for the better part of a century. It's not long into the first issue before we flash back early on when Wolverine, before he was even coated in adamantium, before Weapon X, when he was just kind of a drifter in the woods, he encounters the Predator for the first time. He's kind of a hunter around this kind of small, I don't know if it's Alaska or Canadian wilderness area, and he's just kind of an outcast doing his thing, and he stumbles across this truly horrific hunter, again, one of the Predators, and they get into this first bloody brawl. For those unfamiliar with the Predator film franchise over at Fox, they're a science fiction film franchise, action movie franchise. They've spun out into comic books and other parts of fiction. But yeah, here's the newest comic hero against Wolverine, and this just really makes perfect sense. They're an interstellar race of hunters who basically try to find the best game across the universe, and in this case, this Predator comes across Wolverine, who with his healing factor, his claws, and his just heightened senses and abilities, well, frankly, it makes him really good game. So they stumble across each other in this like wilderness area in the midst of a kind of blizzard or snowstorm. Wolverine also encounters this like kind of skinned or flayed like little forested area of humans and animals that the Predator got to. And anyway, the first skirmish is really, really intense. They're kind of like evaluating each other, and it's a really intense standoff. While we have these first introductions to the Predator 2 in the comics, I really enjoyed that there's a lot of Easter eggs from the movies as far as just seeing how they do their stealth, the kinds of weapons they have. Like, you get to see all these little things that are so reminiscent if you're a fan of those films. And then we have Wolverine just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And between these issues, we basically have a lot of back and forth between the present day and then just flashbacks to every time he's encountered the Predator across his life. I believe the next situation is sometime during his period in the Weapon X program. He's on kind of a Black Ops mission with the likes of someone like Sabretooth and Maverick and a couple others in this jungled area. And he has his memory kind of scrambled, and he's trying to figure out, what's going on here. Maybe it's not Weapon X. I don't remember what this group of kind of mercenaries is, but he doesn't quite remember the Predator, but he has a piece of his tech or a piece that Predator left behind. And so he knows that there's something wrong about the scene in this forested area, and he knows that it's something to be wary of. Well, some of his comrades get taken out. There's a couple different Predators this time he brought back up, and we have a really gnarly kind of war skirmish area. We get some cool action sequences with Sabretooth and just another great brawl scene with Wolverine. And again, one of the things I like with the artwork is that we have, like I said, Ken Lashley for the frame narrative, but all of these flashbacks essentially have different artists as they adapt and approach different periods in Wolverine's life. I think that really adds a degree of texture to the narrative here that I really liked. It kind of reminded me a bit of when I read Moon Knight by Jeff Lemire. It wasn't as much a frame narrative like this story is, but what it did have is a bunch of different personalities of Moon Knight. But when we were operating from the main Mark Spector personality, we had Greg Smallwood on artwork, but every time he kind of shifted into another persona, we had a different artist on the book. And I love that. It made it really distinct to figure out where you're at, who's kind of in control here. And in the same way, I love it here where we have all of these different artists, but again, Ken Lashley's artwork just jumps right off the page. The next kind of skirmish or incident we have is during that like Weapon X procedure where he gets bonded to the adamantium, and we have the Predator kind of there at the genesis of Wolverine's rebirth, and he's kind of in the shadows there. Wolverine is obviously totally beside himself being experimented on, and we have another really cool skirmish. I think when the Predator sees the adamantium, he realizes the hunt has gone to the kind of the next level. We get to see a lot more of the Predator's kind of tech, his ship, things like that in this issue. I really liked that. And I think the implications of this are just really fun and kind of funny that he was there for like one of the most prominent points in his life, when he first gets that adamantium. And again, another battle kind of ensues, and we have Wolverine going off again. And all throughout this, I should say, interstitially, where we get back to the frame narrative in the present day, Wolverine is basically kind of up the creek. The Predator is really pursuing him, and it's really not going well. He's bleeding. He's trying to run away. He's seeing if he can kind of ensnare or trap the Predator. But, the conflict, the sense of tension's all really palpable and interesting, and he does not look like he's in favor here during the battle, at least in the frame narrative. Another flashback we get is his time in Japan being trained by that swordsman. The Predator jumps him, and basically his sensei kind of steps back and says, fight him with your blade, and you have to fight him by yourself for honor. And he's getting just his butt kicked, and so he unleashes his claws, and they start fighting. And I think they get interrupted maybe by the hand or something, I don't know. They get interrupted by ninjas or something. So that battle's a little bit quicker, but I love that we also have this kind of snapshot of a period in Wolverine's life. And then ultimately, the last kind of flashback sequence, if I'm not mistaken, is at his time with the X-Men. He's at like the Xavier school, he's at the X-Mansion, and the Predators basically jump him. And we have the X-Men actually assisting him this time. And he kind of is trying to explain, but trying to like separate himself out a little bit, you know, not wanting to hurt them, but kind of saying this guy's been after me for a long time. And it's a really great battle. I really love seeing the cameos of some prime kind of X-Men characters. I think it just really, you know, it made my heart happy to see that. I think this was a true crossover collaboration in a really just fun way. After all that, we basically get back to the modern frame narrative. We've come full circle, and we know now that Wolverine basically is trying to lure this hunter in for one final standoff. And we get it. We have one final standoff, and it is a great battle sequence that ultimately Wolverine will walk away from after the Predator kind of detonates himself, which is not an uncommon move in that film franchise. But yeah, what a great series here. Like I said, it's a 4-issue miniseries, but we get so much action, so many different time periods, and yet I never felt overly rushed. I think this was really, really well paced. And I think that's in a huge part to the writer, Benjamin Percy. I've loved what he's done on the ongoing Wolverine and X-Force series over at Marvel Comics, which I believe just wrapped up. He did basically the entire Krakoa era for that solo series and for X-Force. I think he also did the X-Lives, X-Deaths of Wolverine as well. All of these are titles I've really enjoyed over the last couple years over at Marvel, and so when I heard that he was the one penning this incredible crossover, I knew that this would be a must-buy for me. I was so excited for it. And so yeah, here it is, and it did not disappoint me. It's a little bit different than maybe the Wolverine we get in those ongoing titles, but honestly, it's really a tight, really, really good, suspenseful kind of narrative, and I just think it works. I think it's so in line with that character. I think the characters all ring true, and I just really dug it. I don't know if this is for everyone, but I just thought it was a huge blast. And honestly, I don't think you need to know a ton about Wolverine to enjoy it, and I really don't think you need to know a lot about the Predator franchise to enjoy it either. They're a really intense hunter race, and Wolverine is a mutant who has healing abilities and claws and is super, super aggressive, and they fight across almost a century. Really a great concept. As far as extras, we don't have a ton, but we do get a variant cover art gallery, which I love to see. Now, they are kind of thumbnailed and small, so we get like 4 per page. It is nice because we get to see so many different variant covers, but I would have loved to see these as full page. This is actually such a great miniseries. I would love one day if we got a deluxe, oversized hardcover edition, or they threw this miniseries in a Wolverine omnibus down the line somehow. I don't know if we ever will, but honestly, I love this storyline. And I'm not sure how they would do it exactly, but I would love a sequel. Maybe strand him on the Predator planet, maybe have other Predators show up, or Predators versus X-Men or something. I don't know. A man can dream. Okay, and with that, I think all that's left to do is to give this book a grade. For a non-stopped, action-packed thrill ride that successfully blended 2 incredible franchises, The Comic Book Report is happy to give Benjamin Percy, Ken Lashley, and team's Predator vs. Wolverine an A. Yes, this was a must-read for me. I think if you're a fan of either Predator or Wolverine or the X-Men, this is definitely a read to pick up. At 4 issues, this is a zippy read, but I never felt like it was rushed. I loved each scene that we got. I loved the frame narrative. It all just really worked for me. All of the artists did a fantastic job on this book, and like I said, I think Ken Lashley just gets Wolverine, at least in my mind. Absolutely loved this. Definitely try to pick it up while it's in print. And if you have already read it, let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to have discussions about it. I would love to hear other opinions. And I think that's going to do it today. Until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to give this video a like, that comment we talked about, and maybe check out another video on your way out. Thanks, and have a good one.